What's up, boys and girls? It's Saturday morning. You know what time that is. It's time for the Saturday morning review. Now, as you can tell, I'm trying to be very, very quiet because it's very early in the morning. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling up to some espionage. So we're going to sneak on into the toy studio and we're going to take a sneak peek at the Jazwares Hanna-Barbera Secret Squirrel figure. And then we're going to tiptoe back to my childhood and we're going to look at a figure that I never had growing up. The Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection Horde Trooper. So sit right back. Paired with Adam Ant for the primetime special, The World of Adam Ant, Secret Squirrel made his television debut on September 12, 1965. Together with his sidekick Morocco Mole, Agent 000 fights crime for the International Sneaky Service using an array of guns and gadgets all amazingly stashed in his tiny trench coat and hat, making the spy game and 007 look like, well, kid stuff. Today, we take a look at the Jazwares Hanna-Barbera Secret Squirrel figure. Alright everybody, here we have our Secret Squirrel. He comes packaged in the exact same Hanna-Barbera blister card pack as all previous Hanna-Barbera Jazwares figures, and features the exact same Hanna-Barbera cast of characters and figure franchises on the back. And just like with all the others, I've carefully cut away the bubble to remove the tray from the card, and here we have our Secret Squirrel. Just like with all of the other figures in this line, there are no ties holding him in. He pops right out of the tray. As do his accessories. Okay, so here we have our Secret Squirrel. Now I will like to note immediately with this figure that he is 100% completely painted, from the top of his hat to the bottom of his feet. We've got purple on his hat, this nice little orange color for his fur, and even his coat is painted white. Now we've got articulation at the wrists, but my figure is really gummy and I've not been able to get him to break free yet. We've got the up and down articulation at the elbows, and then we've got the pivoting and up and down articulation at the shoulders. We have got we've got movement at the neck. Okay, it does break free, unlike my wrists. And then once you turn him over on the back, you've actually got articulation at the tail as well. Now I will note that his feet turn, but because his feet are so thin, he kind of has a hard time standing up. I think if you reposition his feet in certain ways, it probably helps, but nonetheless, he has a hard time standing up. Now I will say, what I do really like about this figure is he has got this nifty little pop-up compartment on his hat, and if you look inside, there's actually an arm that you can take. It's got two pieces to it, and it fits right inside of this little groove inside of his hat, like so. Oh, and there are toys falling off the wall in the background. And if you take his nice little camera accessory, you'll see that it's got this divot right here on the back, which I will admit does not exactly like to stay in place very well. So now the thing that I will say I really was surprised about with this figure is he comes with this nice little pistol. I guess I was really surprised about this because it just seems really weird that a toy, I don't know, I guess G.I. Joe and Transformers and whatever else come packaged with guns all the time, but it seems like a toy that is from an era that was so innocent and is now being targeted towards children. Seems weird that it would come with a gun. So anyway, that's probably going to wrap it up for our look at the Secret Squirrel. This is, oddly enough, one of my favorite figures in the entire Jazwares Hanna-Barbera line, despite the fact that I can't get him to stand up. He's completely painted, he comes with that nifty little pistol, and what could be better? So, there he is. Alright, boys and girls, so what did you think? Winding down on that Hanna-Barbera goodness from that Jazwares collection. This is probably my favorite figure out of the entire collection. It's completely painted, it has that nice little hidden compartment on the top of the hat, and it just looks really cool with that gun! Who would have thought a gun? So anyway, as I promised back before, we're going to take a little stroll into my childhood, and we're going to look at a figure that I never had growing up, and that's the Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection Horde Trooper figure. So sit right back and take a look. The Horde Trooper made his screen debut to theatrical audiences on March 22nd, 1985, in the animated feature The Secret of the Sword. Though a major supporting character in the Princess of Power franchise, the character came to us in 1986 as part of Wave 5 of the Masters of the Universe toy line. Today, we take a look at this vintage treasure. I can hardly contain my excitement as I wrap my hands around this piece of vintage plastic. As I stated before, I never had this figure as a kid, and I'm very, very excited to add this piece to my vintage collection. So let's take a look at this awesome action figure. Just like with most vintage Masters of the Universe figures, it has articulation at the shoulders, and it has articulation down here at the hips, and it actually has articulation at the head. Now, what's kind of different with this figure over most Masters of the Universe action figures, as you can see, it is 100% an original sculpt. There is absolutely no reuse on this figure whatsoever. In addition to that, it also has this nifty little up and down hinge that nearly every Masters of the Universe action figure is lacking. So, trying to get him to stand is not necessarily an easy task with this old vintage piece. My legs like to kind of buckle in at the toes, so he looks a little pigeon-toed, and it causes him to tip over. I actually have to maneuver his legs in just the right way to get him to stand, but as you can see, it is definitely possible. This, in my opinion, is probably the most cartoon-accurate figure that has come out in the Masters of the Universe toy line. It's perfect from the squat stance to the hands. Even the armor itself looks very, very spot on to the Masters of the Universe and Princess of Power cartoons. So, this figure, actually has a really nifty action feature, where if you push this button on his chest, his armor kind of blows up and falls off to the sides, and then you see the innards of the trooper, which is kind of nothing more than some molded red plastic that has a little design on it, and then you can actually see some of the gears and gadgetry on the inside of the armor here. And then the button itself is just this round little piece of plastic, and then it's got a little kind of notch here on the front that pushes through to the back and latches into this piece right here. And then it doesn't even really snap, it just kind of snugly holds it together, and you have your Horde Trooper. Now I will like to note that even though I don't really know why, his head does rotate, and I say I don't know why because you can't really, well, I guess it does twist a little bit there, but so that's good. Full rotation. Now I would like to say, because this is a used piece that I've added to my vintage collection, I don't have his staff accessory or his comic book, but I will add both of those pieces to my collection at some point to make him complete. But I am really, really happy with this piece in my collection nonetheless. And that's going to do it for our look at the Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection Horde Trooper. Alright everybody, welcome back. So what did you think? Growing up as a kid, I always wanted that Horde Trooper figure and I never had it. and I was always jealous of my friends that did, but now it's mine. It's in my collection to stay. And I'll get that staff accessory too, I guarantee it. So be sure to stay tuned for next week when we take a look at the Jazwares Hanna-Barbera Hong Kong Phooey figure. And for our second review, we're going to take a look at the vintage Princess of Power Cal. Also, if you like what we do here at the Pop Culture Network, be sure to check out our forums at jointheforums.com and check out our store at shoppcn.com. And until next week, I'm your host, Intern Rick, and take care.